Welcome everybody to this training session. So tonight what I'd like to do is give you some information that you can use to help you build your business. And the first thing that I would like to start with is the concept of responsibility. So a lot of people flash around the whole concept of law of attraction, and they believe that they are thinking about what they want, and then sometimes get frustrated about the fact that they're perhaps not getting what they want or not getting it as fast as they want to. So what this really means is that the law of attraction is actually working all the time, and we are creating our circumstances, and we're responsible for what's going on in our lives and in our business. So sometimes there's the temptation to blame others or to blame circumstances for our success or our lack of success, rather than taking responsibility for that. So the context of this is not to blame, not to feel guilty, but just to say, I am the person responsible for my actions and therefore responsible for my success. Now, if we are responsible for our actions, we need to know what actions we need to take. So the system that we have is very, very straightforward. The actions that we need to take in this business are very, very simple, but that doesn't mean that it can't be difficult for us to actually take those actions. So when we look in the mirror and we're really honest with ourselves, even though we know what we should be doing, often we're spending a lot of time fluffing around doing everything except what we should be doing, and that's called procrastination. Now, again, there is no point in feeling guilty about procrastination, because we all suffer from it. But what I'd really like to explain to you tonight is why that happens, so that you can do something about it. So we need to start with the mind and how the mind actually works. So a lot of people have at the forefront of their mind what they want. They have their goals written out, they're reading it each day, and they're thinking as often as they can about what they want. But you may have heard the saying that as a man knoweth in his heart, so is he. And what that saying means is in the heart also means in the subconscious mind. So it's not just about what we think about consciously, it's also what's in our subconscious mind. Now, we actually inherit a belief system. We also are conditioned with a belief system. So therefore, it's not always going to marry up with what we would like to see show up in our lives. So let's start with how the mind works. We've got two parts to the mind. The first is the conscious mind. They're the thoughts that you can hear in your head. They're the words that you say. And then we have our subconscious mind, which we can't hear. So we don't know what's locked up in the subconscious mind. But what I can tell you is there is a heap of habits. And habits are basically just a collection of ideas and actions that we have learnt or we've inherited. So let's say, for example, you grew up and you were fed the idea that you have to work hard for money, and that money doesn't come easily, and that money doesn't grow on tree, and I'm not Rockefeller, you know. All of those kind of sayings, if your parents were the same age as mine. So you may not have grown up with any of this, but if you have, then you really took hold of that and you believed that as a child. Now, you may not have heard that information as a child, but you may have had grandparents or great-grandparents that grew up in poverty. And so they would have had very strong beliefs about how hard it is to have money. And it was very real for them. And you've inherited those beliefs. So you can have all the great positive thoughts in your conscious mind that you want, and it won't do anything if you're not changing what's in your subconscious mind. So this can be referred to as a paradigm. And we have lots of paradigms. Some of them are great and they're serving us well, and some of them are holding us back. Another way that you can look at this is like a thermostat. So the thermostat in your house is going to keep your house at a certain temperature. So let's say, for example, if you've got it set today at 22 degrees, if the temperature drops outside and it starts to drop inside, then the heater will come on and it'll bring the temperature back up to 22. If it starts to get hotter than that, it will turn off and let it settle back down to 22. So your house is going to be at 22 degrees the whole time thanks to that thermostat. You can also have a thermostat in your paradigm or your subconscious mind that will keep your life at a certain level. So let's say, for example, the most you've ever earned in your life is $80,000 a year. Now, if your thermostat is set at $80,000 a year, no matter what you do, it's going to adjust you back or up to make sure you keep it at 80,000. So you might leave a job, start a new job, and at the beginning you might earn less, but your thermostat will make sure that it gets you up to that 80,000. Then you might make a really big sale and it tips you over and it looks like you're going to earn 100,000 for the year, but that thermostat is going to have to bring you back down so that you stick at that 80. So when you're setting goals with your business and you want to create financial freedom, you want to create a different lifestyle, perhaps you want to be fitter and healthier, you want better relationships, it's not enough to keep that idea in your conscious mind. It needs to come into your subconscious mind as well. Now, as we all know, sitting around and meditating on our goals will not create success. It's what we do that creates success. But what I want to talk about today is the link between what you think, what you feel, and how you act. I've had people, for example, say to me, I'm following the system. I promise you, I'm making 20 calls every day, and I just keep getting no after no after no. Now, if this person is saying all the right things and doing all the right things, the missing link is the thoughts and the feelings and what's in the paradigm, which changes the energy that's attached to the phone calls. It changes the way that you're actually delivering those actions. So when we think a thought and we think it repetitively or we attach strong emotion to it, then it starts to dip into the subconscious mind. Now, there are different types of actions we can take. There are actions that we force ourselves to take. Who has ever been on a diet? Now, if you've been on a diet, what you would have done is you would have actually changed your habits temporarily. You forced yourself to give up your favourite food, or you forced yourself to start doing exercise that you possibly don't enjoy. So this is not changing a habit. This is just forcing you to do something different. And the same will occur when you apply it to this business. If you're forcing yourself to pick up the phone and make those calls, but you haven't actually changed the cause of your actions or your habits, then it won't be permanent change. So what we're looking for here is a permanent change in habits. So the way to create permanent change is to start with the thought. So if you create a positive statement around the healthy habit that you would like to have, for example, I love getting up every morning at 5:30 a.m. and going for a walk. Okay, now that might feel like a lie to begin with, but if you continue to feed that lie to your subconscious mind doesn't actually know the difference between the truth and a lie. So it has to be repetitive so that you can actually submerge that thought into your subconscious mind so that it actually develops a new belief system. And in the end, you believe that you are that person who loves to get up in the morning and go for a walk. Like me, I absolutely love getting up every morning and going for a walk. So this is created through repetition. So the way that the mind works is you have an idea, you repetitively push it into the subconscious mind and you attach it with emotion. So you make yourself feel good about it so that it is going to sink in faster and have more impact on our subconscious mind, which can also be called the emotional mind or the heart. So this is where you're really going to get results. Now, what happens is once you've got an idea submerged into the subconscious mind, it will cause your habits to change. So you will create new habits that will become second nature to you. You'll do them on autopilot. So we all have habits like that already. So let's say, for example, you all know how to drive a car. When you first learnt how to drive a car, you had to consciously think about putting your hands on the steering wheel, your foot on the accelerator, then putting it on the brake. If you had gears, you had to think about that. Now, when you drive the car, you are literally on autopilot. So much so that sometimes when you're supposed to go past the bakery on the way home, you get home and the car has somehow got you in the driveway and you don't even know how. So this is how habits are formed, just by practice. The same thing is going to happen when you're developing success habits, whether it be about your health, your relationships, or your business. So let's say you would like to develop the habit of successfully reaching out to new contacts every day. So the way that you're going to do this is by saying it out loud, thinking about it constantly with a positive attitude, feeling like you are that person who does that and loves it, and actually doing it. So it's the combination of thinking, feeling, and acting that will create these new habits. And I promise you, once you create these habits, you will enjoy it and it will be so natural for you that you will get up in the morning and make your calls just like you clean your teeth after breakfast. So this is how you're going to create successful habits. But it's also going to give you some understanding of why possibly you're not actually doing the things that you know you should do. So rather than feeling guilty about it or beating yourself up about it, you can now put these practices in place so that you can change that. Now, what I recommend is that you don't do a total overhaul of your life all at once, because that is overwhelming, and that's why diets normally fail. Because what most people do when they go on a diet is they go from maybe having about 10 unhealthy habits and no healthy habits to doing everything perfectly, like the people on The Biggest Loser. So, you know, all of a sudden you're eating perfectly, you're exercising like a maniac, and it's just not sustainable. And it's the same with this. If you start to do a few days where you ring 20 people and, you know, you're just doing so much action, it's just going to be too much and you won't be able to sustain it. So just choose one habit. Choose one habit, the one that you know is the most important for you to start including into your day, and set that as your target. It takes 30 days to create a new habit. So choose one thing. Make sure you choose the one that you know is really important. It's probably the one that scares you the most. It might be picking up the phone and reaching out to new people. And if you want to get over your fear, talk to your upline. Talk to somebody who has experience in talking to people over the phone, and just be honest with them and explain to them how you feel so that you can get some feedback and some ideas about how you can feel better about that. For me, I always approach a phone call with, I'm so excited to meet this new person and get to know them. So that's my intention, because that will always be the case. No matter what the outcome of the phone call is, I will get to know them because that's what I'm going to intend to do. So I also want to connect with them on a heart level. And the way that we connect with people on a heart level is that we remember that we are all the same. So we are all spirit, we're all energy, we're just in different bodies with different circumstances. But ultimately, we're the same. And when you do that, you let go of judgment, and you also let go of fear of judgment, which is probably one of the biggest blocks to picking up the phone, is being afraid of what other people think. If this is a big block for you, what you can do is turn that statement into the absolute opposite. So if you're very honest with yourself and you end up writing out a statement, for example, it may not be like this at all, but it may be, I'm too afraid to pick up the phone because I'm afraid that the person will think I'm an idiot, or I'm afraid that the person will think that I'm trying to sell them something, or they won't like me anymore, you know, if it's not for them. You know, they'll reject me, say no, and then I'll lose a friend. So whatever it may be, you want to turn that into the polar opposite with a new statement. So, for example, I love picking up the phone. I love connecting with people because I'm unattached to the outcome. I just want to offer this information to as many people as I can because I have so much belief in the industry, Jeanette, the business, and myself that I want to help as many people as I can. Or something similar, a statement that feels very important to you and makes you feel really good about picking up the phone. I sometimes use the examples of people who have actually joined my business and how grateful they are. They always say to me repetitively, thank you so much for reaching out to me. Thank goodness Tracy reached out to me the day that she did. Now, if I didn't do that, if I'd been too scared to pick up the phone and reach out to them, then their lives wouldn't have changed in such a positive way. So when you come with this intention, it actually will make you feel good, and so it's much easier to be able to pick up the phone. The belief is so important. So belief, as I said, is in the subconscious mind. So a lot of people will say, I believe I can do it, but it's just at the conscious level. So you really want to get that belief into the subconscious level. And there's so many different ways that you can do this, and it probably is best to do all of them. I know lots of you already have vision boards up, which are really, really powerful. So if you haven't already, make sure that you get photos that represent what you would love your life to look like. So it's up on your vision board and you can see it. The other thing that you can do is write out affirmations. There's lots of great techniques out there. Michael Rowland, who is one of my first mentors from more than 20 years ago, had a technique called 70 times 7. And what you would do is once a day for 7 days, you would write out a statement 70 times. So for example, you might write, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $50,000 a month. Or I am so happy and grateful now that I am living the life of my dreams and helping people all around the world live theirs. Or whatever it is that makes you feel amazing. And then after you write out that statement, straight underneath that statement, you write the first thing that comes to mind. Now, sometimes this will be, don't be stupid, that's not true. Or you're being ridiculous, or you're lying. But the deeper you get into the subconscious mind, sometimes some very deep belief systems will show up. Like if the one is about money, you might get this one coming up saying, well, then you'd have to be a criminal. Or somebody in your family got rich and then they had an affair. Or, you know, these crazy things that are locked up in your subconscious mind that are actually the reason that you are too afraid to be successful. So that's just another example of what you can do. Visualization is the absolute key, because the subconscious mind visualizing something, which is just playing a movie in your mind, is the same to your subconscious mind as it actually happening. Now, a lot of people say, I can't visualize, and that's the same as people saying, I can't meditate. And that's just because you haven't practiced it. If you find it difficult to see the movie in your mind, you can start by writing it out, which will help you see it, or you can actually act it out and video it. So one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is I've actually videoed myself delivering a thank you speech for reaching diamond. So I watch that 10 times a day. So it's just playing it back as if it's already a memory for me. So on one plane, it's already real and it's already happened, even though in our timeline, it's still in the future. And this will create great belief, and this is really powerful for the subconscious mind. The other thing that's really important to understand, and I'm sure you've experienced this before, is there's something called the multiplier effect. And the multiplier effect means that if you give out to others, then it's going to come back to you tenfold or more. Now, a lot of people get confused by what giving means, and they often relate it to money, that for you to be giving, that you need to give money. But what you really need to do is give love. And when you give love to somebody, it can be as simple as a smile or just sending them a feeling of, you know, I want the best for you. And you can do this from a long way away, and you can do it, you know, across the world. You don't even need to be in front of someone. But if you think about how you can do this in your business, when someone reaches out to you with a question, you can, with love, reply to them. Now, you may be sending them in the direction they need to go to find the answer, and that's actually going to help them more than giving them the answer, but you do it with kindness, and that will be felt on the other end. When you're prospecting, you're doing it with the intention of helping them. How can I help this person today? With customers who need support, you're just giving advice, giving help all the time. So giving positive energy is going to come back to you. If you're complaining, if you're blaming, if you're, you know, saying that this is going wrong and that's going wrong, you're going to create more of that in your business. So again, don't feel guilty about it. We all do it. Don't beat yourself up. But if you become aware of it, see how you can shift your energy into love and to into gratitude. We all have so many things to be grateful for. So start with that, and then add to that the things that you would love to see happen in your business and be grateful for them as well. And what I'd like to end with is the timeline. Sometimes we get so anxious about when is it going to happen. And when we're anxious, the energy doesn't flow. So what is actually bringing this to us is positive energy. Love is the highest level of frequency. Second is gratitude. So when we're in this space of love and gratitude, then our body is relaxed and we flow and things come to us easily. Now we're still taking the same actions, but it feels easier. And of course we come across more relaxed to the person we're talking to, and people show up, the right people that we should be working with. And there is a power much greater than us that knows who that is. So let go of the when. Set targets, absolutely. Always set a date for your next target, whatever it is that you're aiming for. Set a date, but if you don't reach it on that date, set it again. Let go. Know that the timing will be perfect. Have that absolute knowing. Get to a place where you know you're doing this. And I said I was going to finish on that, but I've thought of something else I must share. Sometimes the people closest to us will resist what we're doing. The people around us are part of our paradigm. They are used to you the way you are. They know the old you, and sometimes they will feel threatened as you become the new you. So have empathy for them and understand where that's coming from. It's coming from a place of love and protection. And it really needs a very genuine conversation for you to sit down with them and say, look, you know, I understand how you're feeling, and you've got to trust me on this. I just know I'm doing this. And I know that you can't see the results yet, and I can't see the results yet, but I just know, and you've really got to support me and have some faith. But just understand that, you know, for other people looking in, sometimes they can have fear around whether you've made the right decision, and then that can really impact on you. So don't let other people steal your dreams, but if they are close to you and people that you live with and you need to have a good relationship with them, then, you know, don't end up butting heads with them either. So understand where that's coming from, and that can be their fear of you changing into a different person, because you have to. To get different results, you will become a different person, but it's nothing for them to worry about, because you'll become a better version of yourself. So I wish you lots of love and light and absolute success in your business.